All right, everyone, welcome back to Mind Your Words After Dark. This is your host, Alicia and Myra. So, hey, Myra, today
Hiya.
we're going to have some fun again. We're going to do some more Reddit readings because we really had a good time last time. And this time I picked some that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about. Sounds good, Myra?
I'm ready. Let's
You're
see. Bring
ready.
it on. Bring it on. Let's see what you
All
picked.
right. So, this first one is a female. She's 24 years old. And she wrote that, she and her boyfriend have been talking about one of her friends, and they have similar friend group. And she said that her boyfriend found out that her girlfriend boyfriend has cheated and told do you okay, follow the line.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
So
So,
her
okay.
boyfriend told her that her friend boyfriend has cheated and he has witnessed it and the boyfriend admitted to him. What would you do as a friend? Would you go and tell your friend that your boyfriend is cheating, or would you keep it a secret?
Right. Mm, I listen. Okay. So I learned a lesson long time ago in secondary or in high school. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was a freshman, and I we were all in a group. We're all a group of friends, all girls. And I heard something along the lines about someone who was in the group,
Uh-huh.
who I was, I guess, more closer to them than I was with them.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to open up and tell her what I heard. Okay. Now, I say if they're really good friends, they would listen and understand and, okay, look further into it.
Right.
But I learned that day she wasn't a good friend because then she turned around and said I was lying. This isn't true. And then she wanted to beat me up for it. And
Because
I
you
was
were
like,
causing the
why?
drama. Oh.
I was being chased. She said, oh, I'm going to beat you up today on that day and that time at this place. I'm like, wait, what have I done? What have I done? I just said the truth.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think it just depends. I think if you're really good friends with that one person and they'll take it, but you just don't know how they're going to react. So how about you, Alicia? What do you know?
I have a different situation, and it's interesting how your perspective can change everything. So I didn't think about it, but it was in my 20s when this happened, and I was with my friends for a birthday party with another friend, and she brought some friends over too. And I knew her friends, not personally knew them, but I knew that they were a married couple, for example.
Oh,
And for whatever reason, this married couple husband was touching me on trying to give me a massage in front of his wife, in front of everybody, giving the shoulder rub. And
oh wow.
I was like,
Okay.
you can feel the tension. I was okay. I was
Oh,
young, I was naive, and I didn't
you
say
were
it.
relaxed.
I was I was enjoying it. I was like, okay, give me more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Rub
right.
it.
Now I was like, excuse me, what is this?
What are you doing? What do you want? You want some money? What do you want?
Pay me something. But it was so awkward because the wife was literally diagonally from me, and my other friends were looking at me and my reaction. And this guy was just really rubbing it in my shoulder, and I was like, what is happening here?
You
So,
know what? Oh my gosh. So wait, what happened?
okay, when that happened, I approached my friend who was having her birthday party, and I said, "Do you know so and so was touching me in an inappropriate way in front of his wife?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, no problem. They have an open relationship." And I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, and I'm
she
going to
was
be on the
okay.
part of this relationship or what?"
she approved of him
Yeah,
massaging
I think I was
you.
selected. I was chosen, I think,
She gave the wink.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Go for it.
Well, she didn't react to it, actually. She was totally ignoring the whole thing. And I was like, what am
Yeah,
I in? What is this? So, I did not do any favors that time. Not my
crazy.
thing, but you never know. I mean, in this situation, if this happened to me, I'm trying to stay away from drama. I don't like to be in the middle of people's problems. And like I said, it could be an open relationship and that we just don't know about it, right? Who
Exactly.
knows?
You didn't
It's not
know,
my
you know.
business.
Bringing this up, you won't believe I do remember another story. This time,
Uh,
I was um told by a friend on someone's action. So, can you believe this happened in Poland?
okay.
I'm gonna keep it as
It also happened to me in Poland too, so this is very interesting.
funny. So I we were at a club. I had invited all my girlfriends and one of my ex-boyfriends at that time. And we went clubbing because it was my last day before moving to Warsaw. That's when I met
Ah,
you.
oh
Once I
yeah,
moved to
okay.
Warsaw, so I was in a small town called Radom, and we went clubbing, and we all had alcohol. We all had vodka, shots here, shots there. We were all having a good time. And then we started all dancing. Now, my ex was the only male there,
Uh-huh.
which was a bit odd. So then I was somebody, a good friend, she's a great friend of mine, by the way.
Yeah.
She started telling me, hey, so and so is very close to your boyfriend there. And I looked and I was like, now I didn't get upset with him. I got upset with the girls because they all knew he was my boyfriend. They all knew. So it was like, hey, hey.
Oh.
And they started all dancing and kind of freaking around. I'm like, what? Mm-mm. So, and so then I started dancing very close to my very close friend. And all of a sudden, my ex comes in behind her and starts grind. And then she whispers in my ear in the club, not even whisper, she shouts because it's so loud. He's touching my butt. He is touching me. And I was like, what? She's like, she's touching me. She's filling me up. I turned around, I pushed her around, and I was so angry at him. I was so angry. Like, what are you doing? He said, well, you're doing it to her, so what can I? I said, hold on. She's my friend, and she's a girl. She's
Yeah.
not another man. She's not another guy. Like, you do it to other guys. I don't give a shit if you do it to another guy. Don't do it to my friends. Like,
Yeah.
that's a no. Oh, everyone's having a good time. I'm like, no. I'm sorry. You're my boyfriend. No. So it was a really awkward.
Yeah, it's very awkward.
I
Wow.
believed her. I believed her.
Yeah.
I believed her. So I was very protective of her and what happened. And I felt really embarrassed because, I invited him. He's doing this. And she was like, hey, and she was like brushing it off and he kept going for it. So she
Oh,
tried as
sure.
nicely as possible and she was married. So, I mean, come on. Come on. And he knew, like, what's
Wow.
going on? Like, I've had a couple of drinks, free for all. I can do all these things. So, gosh, I mean, this poor girl, sometimes, like I said, that's why I said in the situations, it depends on the person. So the person can take it really good and will protect you.
Right.
And sometimes it'll just be a slap in the face back.
I always do it as, my kind of warning. Like I would say, I heard a rumor that
Well,
so and so is doing something. You might want to check it out. I don't know if it's true or not.
that's true. That's really good because instead of
Yeah.
saying I heard or I was told,
Yeah.
then I think it's like, oh, I've heard a rumor or I heard something or
Yeah. So
yeah, that's
not directly, but you're gonna give her a warning. So they can't come back to you and say you didn't warn them. I told you, I heard something about somebody told me that your boyfriend is doing this. You might want to watch a little
keep
bit.
an keep an eye on it.
Keep
Just
an
make
eye on it.
sure.
Yeah. I haven't had
But
any experience, but I heard somebody else had.
yeah, I mean, I forgot about the Poland incident. I
Yes,
mean,
this happened in Poland too. I'm like, where's the boundaries? Hello.
I don't think they have boundaries. Sorry, Polish friends.
That's so
I
true.
think once the alcohol comes out, once the vodka, especially the vodka, once that all comes out, a couple of shots, people get a little friendly, start massaging your back,
Yes,
rubbing your butt. Welcome to Poland.
that's in Poland. Welcome to Poland. That's so true. Okay, so I think we solved that issue
We did.
with our own
Next.
experiences, right?
That's a good story. I forgot about that one.
See?
Sorry to my friend who will probably listen to it. She does,
Uh,
but
we
that's
didn't
what
mention
friends are
any
for.
names.
I saved her.
Yeah,
Sarah
you
saved
saved
her.
her.
I
Exactly.
did.
And, us girls need to protect each other about that. There's a lot of creeps out there.
A
Gotta,
lot.
gotta speak out when something is making you uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, too many creeps. Too many creeps.
That's so true. Talking about creeps,
Yes.
we're gonna switch to another one. And this is
Okay.
goes
Yeah.
into the, aluminum foil hat on your
Okay.
head. And I picked this one because it's so random and it's a conspiracy, but how do you think, Myra, the world is going to end? Do you think it's going to end?
Ooh.
Is there going to be an ending to the world?
Yes,
How?
there will be. I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, but you never know, because we're living in a time where, God, it's not, I can't believe I'm going to mention that guy. Let's just say whatever that guy is. I'm not even going with president
Yeah, President.
Trump. I'm just going to say Trump. And, it's scary because there's so many world leaders that you look up to. They take position of office. You expect that they would think right with their head and to think, hey, should I press that button? Should I not? Should I cause war? Should I do this? And the United States has a massive power, and we all depend on the United States. We all look up to this leader. And at the moment, this person is a clown and a half, and he's worse than dirt. Um, and it is scary that we think, gosh, what can happen? But if inflations go up, if people lose jobs, there was a joke on SNL last week about the cause of maybe the back to depression era,
Hmm.
and it is very scary. Now, back in the depression era, you think, we didn't have as many guns as we do now. We have violence left to right now, and people can just go up and they can loot. They can start. I mean, they're looting stores now, right? They've always have been those group gangs that the loot, and then looting goes to one thing, another, and it can fall. The whole government can fall, and the whole country can fall down fast if things don't happen. As to the end of the world, well, I do worry about America because if America messes themselves up, then everybody around the other countries will fall as well. And it is very scary to think this is it. This is the country that kind of runs it all. But then there could be other countries that take over, like Russia and China, that they're ready, and or the UAE, ready to.
Right.
They got the money to save the world if they want. So it is scary. But as the end of the world, we're talking about the end of the world, and like poof, no, none of us. Poof,
There we
we're
go.
gone. Poof, we're gone. It is sad. I do think the world. I just think humankind, and mankind has ruined the planet,
Yeah.
and so some of us take it very nice, and some of us take care of it well, and some of us just ruin it for others,
Sure.
for greed and power. And I do worry about that, and I worry about the future, the children's future, what they'll live in, and my grandchildren, that if there is any grandchildren, what they will live in as well.
Sure.
What about you? What do you think?
Well, it's
What do you
very
think?
interesting. I think, like what you were talking about, there is a concern now, and I think in human history, we have a roller coaster ride. We have moments of peace, and the world doesn't look like it's going to end, and then suddenly we crash down, and we're gonna fight each other and just try to destroy each other. So I think we are still on this loop of human history. We're repeating ourselves.
Yeah,
And of course, I'm not a big fan of Mr. D,
yeah, let's call him
but
that.
he only represents what is showing in our society. And unfortunately, a big chunk of our society accepts this type of personality. And unfortunately, and I don't, I'm part of the human race. But I feel like we're due to suffer, and we are due to experience heartache and pain of losing a lot of things. So it's part of life. This is what we agreed to come. And when we come to Earth, we are here to learn our lessons. And I really feel like, okay, this is a big lesson. And yeah, it's going to feel like the end of the world for many people. Unfortunately, it will destroy many lives. And
Well,
that could be the symbolism of end of the world for a lot of people. It is. It is.
it
So,
is.
but the
It,
impact of the Earth, I think the Earth is pretty strong planet.
really?
I don't think it needs us. It doesn't need humans.
Oh
When we
no.
had the pandemic, remember when we had the pandemic, everything was shut down and the outside, if we were to look out to nature, they were fine. Mother Nature was good. It was great, actually, without us. So if
True.
we're to destroy ourselves, okay, Earth will still be here, I think.
I
So,
yeah, I think I think that's what puts me down sometimes.
sure.
Good topic by the way here.
Yeah,
To think about, I do think, we're all humans and we should be taking care of one another. We should be taking care of our communities,
yeah,
not destroying it, not fighting for power, not who's, what territory is better and greater. And you're right, we are repeating history.
yeah.
We're repeating history now, very close to repeating history of what happened during the Holocaust. I mean, we're not to the point of,
No, sure.
the chambers, but it set breaking families apart, saying you are illegal by color.
Right.
It's disgusting, taking you away, not knowing where you're going. It's very similar to that kind of concentration camps where you don't even know where you're going and being sent to, right? You just said, oh, go in there and that's it. And it's it's devastating. It breaks my heart. It really does. And we don't want history to repeat itself again, and like that history itself. And then I also think about Kosovo, what happened in the 90s. That's not too far ago, what happened there as well. And it is very sad. um, and it's happening now in countries. It's happening now in Africa, in certain countries, invading each other, killing each other,
Sure.
um, for land, or because the rights, or because this is it. And it is sad.
Well,
So
this
we,
has been going on for a while. They've been preparing us for this kind of day, actually, taking.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. I really think so. At least for
Oh,
the last 20 years. I will tell you a story, another podcast, but I had experience in Warsaw that made me think about what's happening now, and I'm like, shoot.
really?
I don't know if I even should talk about it, 'cause it could put me in danger, actually.
Okay, okay. Let's not put you in
I don't want to put
danger.
in danger, but what I witnessed in Warsaw and what I am seeing now here, it felt to me that this has been in the plans. It feels like it's been in the plans to do this. Um,
Yeah.
everywhere,
I,
everywhere, and not just United States, but the whole world has been under this plan. And now we're seeing it executive, pulling it out there and putting into practice, and it's working because we are misinformed. If you, Myra, you are into drama. Do you know the Music Man, the musical, the Music Man?
um, you know what? You're gonna hate me. That's probably one
You
of the
don't.
musicals I don't
Oh
know.
my God, Myra, you have to watch.
Sorry, I do
I'll
love
tell you
musicals, but
the
not the.
idea. It's about a salesman who comes into a town and he convinced the citizen of this town to join to create a band. And
Okay,
yeah, so he was a spinster, a typical spinster.
okay.
So now what we are seeing, unfortunately, and I want everyone to pay attention who's watching this.
It's kind of like Sister Act then.
Kinda, yeah, kind of. But
The first one, not the second film. The first
first
one, because
one,
she was
yeah,
a bit of a
similar.
naughty girl, and then she hid her in the convent, and she's like, we should start a choir.
Yeah,
Well, she
but she did
changed.
it. This
She
move in this musical, he didn't. Because
oh,
it was
whoops.
a story he created, and he was spinning the story to convince them to buy uniform and buy, instruments. He was not planning to give them any of that, actually.
Ah,
So if you see what's happening now in our government, in our media, how they are spinning the story, as we say, this been in our genes for a while, but now it's so yeah, I want everyone to pay attention. If someone is asking a direct question and they're not answering it directly, then there's some kind of spinning going on.
true. Especially when they start saying that's a dumb question.
Yes.
Where are you from? You shouldn't be
Right.
asking this
The
question.
gaslighting. Listen to the gas.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Now you reminded me of another play. This is a play.
uh
It's called The Enemy of the People.
Oh yeah.
Henrik Ibsen. I don't, are you familiar with this play?
I haven't seen it, but I heard of it though.
Oh, so it's one of the greatest plays. It's basically apparently in Russia they performed it, and it kind of they say that it was the start of the Russian Revolution.
Mm.
It's just basically about a man that goes. He's a doctor, well known in town. He finds out that they're trying to open a spa, and the spa turns out to have poisonous water,
Oh.
and people are getting sick, but it's supposed to be a health benefit. The spa is to get more people to come into town, more jobs, more opportunities. He starts talking to his friend who's he works for the newspaper, and says, and then it's his brother who is the guy who's the mayor and who is the one behind it, something like that. They're related, and it turns out that everybody starts turning against him
Mm.
and saying, you don't want the town to have this. You're just jealous. No one's going to want to take your profession. And it turns out at the end of the scene, nobody knows what happens, but there's an angry mob outside throwing stones, and he walks out. We don't know what happens,
Sure.
but it really is scary because when you have somebody standing up for the right of others, like many news reporters and people, and then you have these other people like, oh no, you're the one in wrong.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be questioning me. You shouldn't be doing this. And it's like, yeah, they have the right to question. Their right to ask those questions because we, the people, want to know
Absolutely.
what's going on. So when you start seeing that, it's like, but it is scary. And you're right. And I do remember Obama visiting Warsaw, and I did see him from afar, and it was so beautiful to see him there. And I can see, oh, I know why he's here. Um,
Uh-huh.
we've been ready. We've been waiting, and
We've been
I
waiting
think
for this. And, unfortunately, we've been brainwashed, to be honest, to believe not media, but believe our politicians, believe the ones who has your right and a nationalistic point of view, because we pledge allegiance every day. We don't kneel and we don't, we never say anything bad about our country because we are the best. We've been
yeah,
programmed to believe this. And that is like
true.
that's not how America should be. We should question every single thing, every single day.
Whoever's listening to this podcast, these we are two women that have lived abroad in America, from America, and you are back in America.
Yeah,
I don't dare dream of going back to America due to political reasons,
sure.
but it is an eye opener when you're outside of the United States. You start to see the damage that we have done. I say we as Americans, the damage that we've broken countries apart, given them weapons and just we are in
Promises
control
they
of lots
tell
of
us
things.
all the time. Oh my God. So many promises.
Well, now I understand why my one of my good friends has a gun room. Okay,
Oh
he's
my
been
God.
collecting guns for years. He says because one day it's gonna get bad, and this is why Americans are gone nuts and buy guns and guns and guns and guns and hold them in because they think something's gonna happen someday, and you never know, and
Right.
it's scary.
And I
It's
love it. They
scary.
say we're going to go against these people. I'm like, who are these people? We are all the same people. This is a
Why don't we
country
go?
together. Why are you trying to say who are? I really want them to define exactly who are these people that we're against, and there are enemies. What is this? The other people.
All the people that he's shipped out, all these quote quote illegals or gang related people, which some of them are not even gang related. It's just a mess.
Yeah,
I don't think I've heard anything about them carrying a gun, a weapon, or shooting up anybody. I mean, I think he needs to clean up those crazy Nazis that were on the bridge. They like walking around with big guns. They're
right.
not even in the military. Like, what are they doing walking around scaring people with Nazi memorabilia, all this stuff, and their big weapons? And then now the blacks, now they have guns, and they brought in to take care of the neighborhood because they don't want to see those people there again. Okay,
Yeah,
that's not right. That's not right. We shouldn't be walking around with guns like that, and live in fear in a home in your country.
exactly.
And sadly, that's America.
Yeah, I had
Um,
friends who tell me, I like to go for long walks nowadays, and they said, "Do you carry a gun?" And I'm like, I didn't even think to carry a gun, and why would I even bother? If someone wants to attack
oh,
me, fine. But geez, I don't even have a mindset to think that somebody's going to be against me, you know?
carry a carry a gun walking?
Walking, just going for a walk. And I'm like,
That's
really?
ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, are you so scared of other people? You know, I think that's the problem because, they're getting rid of all those programs about diversity and all that stuff intentionally, so we are scared of each other, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I think we should, end this question with REM's song, It's the End of the World, and we know it.
It
I
is.
honestly play that song. I used to always play that song, and it honestly just depicts the end of the world. And it's the media and everything, and and it's like he just breaks it down. So yeah,
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to end on a negative note. I think this end of the world is needed for a better world. So if we're going to go through it, then it's going to be messy.
yeah, yeah.
But we
True,
got to
true,
do
true,
it and we need to go through to the other side. So
true that, true that.
let's hope for a better world once we end this world, right? I
Yeah,
think.
let's hope for it. We
Cross
got to have
fingers.
heaven.
Yes, gotta have heaven on earth next. All right, so very interesting topic. Hey, we covered a lot. We covered relationships. We talked about the end of the world, just one extreme to the other.
Of
But I really
course.
enjoyed it. So if anybody is watching this podcast, if you like our Reddit conversation, put a like on it, and I hope you subscribe and share and encourage us because we are doing this to share our lives, really. I enjoy it. I hope you're enjoying it, Myra.
I am.
See? So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll talk to you at our next After Dark episode. See ya.